I'm fully with the Woolwich. Welcome tonight to the extravaganza Le Route along Le Plan l'Espoir. Right. And we, mon côté, see? There's nothing wrong with a bit of French. And you know, we've well, seeing as that, you know, we're all loving the French. We got to do it. You know. It looks like I'm in a storeroom. Yeah, fair enough. Somebody's got to do it. If I just took some bags down, it'd look more presentable. There we go. See, it's good. It's good. So, how is everybody today?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good. And any news from you this week, Margaret?
Oh. Well, I was watching Alice Roberts again.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of
Oh,
Alice.
and do you know what she was? She'd gone to. She discovered, or she hadn't. There were archaeologists at an Etruscan village, and guess what they had? They had a sewage system. They had underfloor heating. So it would seem that the Romans pinched the ideas and just made it bigger.
You hang on a minute. You can't be saying that the Romans pinched any ideas. It's just not acceptable.
The Etruscans did it all first.
Margaret, what you had were Etruscan migrants who actually went to Rome, and one guy said, "I'm going to make some money here. I'm going to introduce a system," and everybody else copied it. They didn't have copyright control in those days.
Hang on. Was there a double joke there? Had to introduce a system. Did you say a system?
System.
You said a system.
It introduced a system. The Etruscans migrated into Rome, took the system with them, and said, "I'm going to make some money on that." And then somebody else stole the idea.
Yeah, the Romans did. Yeah, made it
no copyright.
bigger. Yeah.
Why did they need underfloor heating in Italy?
Stop talking rubbish.
Why did they need underfloor heating in Italy?
Because they had.
Did you see Cortina last week?
They had baths.
Yeah, that's up in the mountains. These people aren't down there. They're down by the coast.
The Etruscans.
Yeah, but it's the tail end of the Ice Age, Andy. Come on now.
Well, you should watch
They're
Alice
just
Roberts,
soft.
a train ride through the Roman Empire. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm quite happy walking out at -25 in my shirt sleeves. I doubt if anyone else wants to do that.
No, that's
what, do you want a medal or something? No, shut up.
It's very invigorating, isn't it, being cold?
Anyway, nice to see you, Carl. And you had to shave.
Yeah, it is. It is, isn't it? Because I've got to have some photographs taken. Some again. I've spent a hell of a lot of money on my acting clothes that I turn up on set with. Just sort of my brand clothes, my very expensive moleskin trousers, and you know, my wonderful checkered shirt, and my Italian. Yeah. So all the money that I earned over December is gone on all that. Everything is gone. But I got to look smart. So that's life. I've lost the plot now. So we were asking questions. So nothing else from you, Margaret? No.
No, that's all.
Thank God for that. I didn't want to hear your voice anymore. Right, Judith.
No, nothing from me. Thank you.
I got nobody to insult tonight. I haven't got Roger. So,
no, Roger.
You know, poor old Roger. Right, can I before I say anything else? I got some. I got a bit of news that has actually slightly hit me a little bit today. So I'm going to read it out. So here we go. Where is it? It's such an important message. I can't find it. Where is it? Oh, fiddlesticks! It was year. Right? Hang on. Where is it? Where's this message? Oh, it's been sent. Oh God, it's been sent through on another device. But right, I gonna have to. Right, okay. I gonna have to try and get to this a minute. So let me read this out. So you haven't lost me, have you? No, good.
No, you're just
No.
sideways.
Am I sideways? Good. There's nothing wrong with being sideways, love. It's all for the good of the country, I say. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Right, I'm just trying to get the message. Right. Shit. Right, here we go. It was from the email was not actually right. I didn't know it was from initially, and it turned out to be from Anne, right? And it says, "Hi Carl, I have for some while been having sleeping problems, probably age related. Several times I have fallen asleep during your lecture and have been quite embarrassed by my bad manners. So I shall withdraw from the group at least for a while. However, I must thank you for what I have learned from you so far, which I believe has enhanced my understanding of life. Many thanks and best wishes, Anne." Right, and for me, yeah, I was reading that today, and I just thought, yeah, I was a little bit upset, to be honest with you, because we all like Anne along, and I just she was one person that joined in the pandemic, who hadn't been involved before, and she was the only remaining person who actually joined our classes for the pandemic, because there was quite a few at one point. So that's a shame. Hopefully she'll be back, and yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, so anyone pass on our regards, and but it's going to be a shame not to have her along, because on the Wednesday class I've lost 2 people. We had 6, and now we're down to 4. And you know, it's we've yeah, it's yeah, it's just bothered me, to be honest. Anyway, Drina.
No news, not this week.
Okay. Anything else from you, Will?
No, you got my stuff on Falira and some background info.
Good. Yes, we will be doing be doing Primagena as well today. Andy.
Yeah, I got one of my friends got, when I was with them, got a notification on whatever platform it was about a Roman wooden coffins found in London, up the River Fleet. Now it said it was, they didn't know whether it was an up-to-date one or not, but it looked like the posting was up to date. But it said they've been actually found in 2024. But it said they were really rare wooden coffins, and they showed pictures, and they were actually really good. So I'd not heard of them, so maybe it was only announced this week. But
Well, that's actually bothered me, because I didn't know that myself. And
no,
that's,
well, maybe it was just released this week. I don't know what platform it was on, I'm afraid. So
is that
probably
associated-
might have been BBC, but
is that associated with the old Fleet prison?
I don't know. It was just said on the River Fleet, so that's kind of like sort of West End North, isn't it? So
Okay.
some development or other, but yeah, just said rare wooden coffins, Roman wooden coffins. So.
Oh, okay. That's that's really odd.
Mm.
I had no idea about that. So,
Well, maybe it was just released this week. Then the press release.
okay.
Have a look and see.
Have a look and see.
Mm.
All right. So tonight it's probably going to be the last one that we're sort of being going to be doing any much in the way of history. So, and we'll be doing sort of, you know, as I said we were going to do like the last Caligula sort of thing today. But I'm going to be doing something that is slightly Caligula linked, and something that is linked to lots of different things. It's to do with inscribed Roman standing stones, and I think when I was doing this, I thought maybe I would like to, as an example of these stones, I just thought it was, let's look a bit of the inscriptions and how we see these inscriptions as archaeological evidence rather than written in a history book, things getting lost, things that are in museums that nobody sees anymore. So it sort of puts things together like that, and it sort of links in a bit of the Caligula stuff. So it's a place known as Clicentium, which is near a place called Bitton Manor, which is Southampton. So that takes us to the south coast. So I was realizing as well today that Velsen, that we've looked at last week, a fort built by Caligula, associated with the Legion of the 22nd, which was founded by Caligula in AD 39, is opposite to Norfolk. And I just come up with a really weird idea of a possible expedition from this locality. It happens to be in the most queerest place, with thousands of Roman legionaries with boats and stuff, as opposed to when we looked at the lighthouse last week in France. This is in some completely different. And then it linked me in with the portable antiquities schemes coins that have been found in Norfolk. So I'm not saying anything other than what I'm going to be doing when I look at that. And we've got Adminis coins as well, and that type of historical stuff. So let's crack on, and hopefully, right, hopefully things will be fine. Famous last words. So maybe it was all Roger's fault. Maybe tonight is going to be fine because Roger's not here. And the other problem is that I've had transferal problems with information tonight as well. So I've just had to take copies of copies, and all this nice stuff here is sort of out of order. So I've had to take images of copies because I'm using different technologies which are not compatible. So I want us to probably just focus on my first bit involving Clicentium, which is on the south coast, which is actually there, Clicentium, Bitton Manor, which is on a bend in the Itchen River, which is also marked there, Clicentium, Bitton. And one thing that I wasn't going to say, and I think I better ask at this stage, can you all see the images?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hear very well though, it's quiet.
Hang on a minute. Andy, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you, but it is a little quiet. But I can hear you perfectly well. So.
Hang on a minute. We've got Andy in the middle. Margaret sort of can't really hear me too much because probably I'm being a bit too more quieter than usual.
I think, yeah, I can hear you, but I think you're just quiet. You're just quiet, that's all. You need some more beans.
All right then, for friggin' siggle, biggle, boggle, Ben. Roggle, wriggle, roggle. There you go. Is that
Thank
better?
you. Much better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you're satisfied. Sod everybody else. Right. Anyway, so I will raise my voice, all right? Love it. Oh, what do you mean I should have more beans? I got a can of bloody stuff in front of me. Lucas A, thank you. All right. Well, I've risen my tone then, haven't I?
Yes,
So,
marvellous.
All right, thanks for agreeing. You don't have to be the class SWAT today. Right, it's fine. I'm glad you said. So Clycentium itself is a nice little place, and why does this tie in with the Caligula stuff? It doesn't. However, one of my people on a Wednesday, obviously, you've got the Solent, you've got the Sound there between the Isle of Wight and the mainland, and it was basically somebody had mumbled something that if Caligula had done anything, he may have landed at Bitten in Clasentium. Where that's come from, I have no idea at all. But the interesting thing about Clasentium is the milestones that have been found there. And it tells me as well about when you get a lot of information together that disrupts and change the overall narrative. And what I mean by that is archaeological bias. So what archaeological bias is when you get a lot of archaeological sites that you've got loads of information from in one place, and then over the hill there's nothing. And the reason why there's nothing on the other side is nobody's done any research, or it's all been washed away, it's all been bulldozed away, and then the archaeologists on the one side say, loads of people live there and we've got the archaeology. On the other side of the hill, nobody lived there because we haven't got the archaeology. That's called archaeological bias. So Clycentium itself, in a locality called Bitten Manor. And the other thing as well is this obsession of archaeologists with place names and historians with place names. So it's like we find a place that is a Roman sort of locality mentioned in works written down by the Romans, like the Antonine Itinerary, which was a list of Roman localities across the Roman Empire and the distances between A and B, blah blah blah. People say, oh, we don't really know where A is, but so we can't really call these Roman remains A, that type of thing. So there's all this obsessions in archaeology. I'm just really interested in the archaeology, and you guys are as well. But it's taken a while for me to understand what people really want in regards to the archaeology. But back to this Bitten Manor. When we look at Bitten Manor, whenever you look at Bitten Manor, it says that they found Roman milestones there, and basically found between the 1800s and the 1850s or thereabouts. This one here mentioned 1804 to 1805, but you can see at the bottom of the screen it says the stone is now lost. So how you lose a standing stone, I don't know, right? But you lose it. That's it. The British Museum did exist then, by the way, but there wasn't many museums anywhere in Britain other than the British Museum, and there were lots of private collections. There's houses and stuff, some burnt down, and we lost all the artifacts. But anyway, the point is that whenever you're doing research like this, be very wary of what's being said on the internet. Try and go with sort of published records. Now this is from the Roman Stone Inscription Society, wherever they call themselves, and the information here is different from what I saw on the internet. So the stuff on the internet said it was that these not this one, because the other two, because two we've still got, they're on display in the Tudor house and garden in Southampton, but except then it turns out that they're on display in the City Museum in Southampton. So if you ever go looking for these things, they're usually either lost in this case, or they've been put in the storeroom and nobody can see them. So the one thing, Adrina, am I sounding loud and clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Good, I've taken the beans, man! Way, shaking on the wave. Hey, Adrina, whenever I say shaking on the wave, nobody knows what the hell I'm on about. So talking about shaking on the wave, basically we've got this stone itself, right? That's a meter tall, right, by about half a meter wide. What does it look like found in Bitten Manor, and where is Bitten Manor? We've got to do that as well. Right, it's this one. This is the one that's become lost. It's quite a tragedy, really, because there's loads of information on it, and there it was, once found in Bitten Manor, which is where there's precisely where Bitten Manor is today. So what I've done in the annals, I've looked at all this stuff, and there's another one that's lost there, some information, blah blah blah. So what we're going to do is go back. So all this sort of information, I was looking at this, and you're thinking, that's a nice sketch. And the thing is, when people are and basically that's all there is, right? That's all there is. And the one thing that I think is absolutely fascinating is all that information there in Latin, right, translates to that. And you're thinking, right, okay. So one thing about stones, inscribed stones, is that there's an incredible amount of detail that's not on them, that somehow is on them, because people have managed to work out that certain letters on there link to certain things, and so these are sort of what we can sort of learn from it without sort of going into too much detail, right? But one thing about these stones is, as the information is there, right? And I'm sounding really vague because it's really difficult to look at the sketch, because there's not really much to say other than what's written here. But the quick point I'd like to make is that these stones themselves tell us of certain moments when certain things are going on in a certain area, right? So if this was to do with Caligula, we might find a stone that's inscribed Caligula was here. And in a way, this is what Emperor Severus was here in AD 210. Caracalla was here in 215. But these don't actually relate to an emperor physically there. It relates to the emperor's sense of commanding the world, of the Roman world being influencing that moment. So what we're talking about is that we would see Roman villas being built in Africa, and there might be inscriptions associated with the Emperor Vespasian had this villa built in North Africa, right? He didn't have it physically built, it's built in his reign. And this is the point. I made this point last week, that when you calculate the Roman world, you calculate it from the date of the emperor's reign. So for example, I got to get my little chart here. For example, Caracalla was well and truly reigning, right? From I got to get his details up here. We got Commodus there, Caracalla. The interesting thing is we got the name Caracalla there, right? We know that Caracalla took over from his dad. Right, his dad died in York in 211, right? So Caracalla reigned until 217. However, there's one problem with all of this, right? So if it basically said, you know, in the 5th year of Caracalla's reign, well, in this case it'd be the 4th year of Caracalla's reign, because he took over in 211, right? Then it'd be saying in the 4th year of Caracalla's reign, for example. However, this is where it gets confusing, folks. This is where it blows your head. Is that even though Caracalla wasn't in purple, right? He reigned as a co-emperor with his father from AD 198, right? He wasn't the main one in charge, but his dad was, Septimus Severus, who's also mentioned on here. So you've got to be very careful when you're reading this type of information from inscriptions, right? And again, this is sort of a little bit of an overview to sort of give you a taste, right? So some Roman standard stones are curved like this, like columns. It might actually be a column from a building, right? that had been demolished, and it decided to inscribe on it, right? And there's one thing about these stones is inscriptions were usually inscribed on them whilst the stone was laying horizontally, not inscribing it vertically, because what happens when you inscribe something vertically, as we'll see with another example of one of these stones, right? All the information goes all over the shop, right? And you might think that this is like, oh, this is not, it doesn't, it looks a bit off, doesn't it? But some of these things are totally off, because when you start getting down the lane of understanding Roman inscriptions, right, the writing is not always times Roman, right? It's times anything. And the other thing as well is with this next stone that we're going to mention, this was also lost in Britain. And again, how did these things get lost? People needed them for building. And the best thing to do with a stone that's got inscriptions on it is turn it around, right? Stick it in a wall and nobody knows what was on it, right? And we see a lot of this in South Wales, for example. They're back in, I think, 1799, but exactly this date. There was in South Wales. This is not here in Southampton. There was a stone that was used as a footbridge, right? And then this historian Caligula decided to turn the stone around, and it turned out to have these beautiful carvings on it, right? So it'd been put face down, right? So if anyone was to ever look for these inscribed stones, this square one, which is not even half a meter high, but it's sort of half a meter wide, yeah, and there it is. And again, another inscription, right? So wherever this is, it's lost and nobody's really seen it. It says 1799, and it's lucky that this is being recorded. It really, really is. I think that is Imperator, IMP on the top. Let's get the translation. There it is. Did it turn out to be Imperator? No, it didn't. So basically, this is another inscription to do with the Emperor Aurelian, right? Aurelianus, right? And it's really interesting that some of these, there's bits of British history that historians don't tell you, right? But the archaeology does tell you. So this is really important that we do go on to the archaeology more than we look at the history. And I'm getting really excited about Boudica, because telling the story about Boudica without mentioning any historians, I keep saying this every week, is going to be so really good. But we've got to do the Roman London stuff first, and we've got to sort of do lots of things, loads of it. So I don't want to race too much to Boudica and Verulamium. But the one point I wanted to make, get on to the point, is that what we usually see is when we look at the historical recording of Roman era Britain, we usually see AD 43 to any date between AD 410, AD 430, or AD 476, which I use. I do AD 476 because that's when the Roman Empire in the West collapsed. That's the day I use. And the reason why we've got all these different dates for the end of Roman era Britain is that nobody can agree, right? And to be honest with you, dates don't matter when you're looking at Roman era Britain, because we even though we've got lots written down really doesn't agree. And then you get bits like this that, hang on a minute, why is the Roman Emperor coming over to Britain to recover Britain? What's happened? Who's nicked it, right? So there's lots of times that Roman era Britain isn't Roman era Britain. There's something called the Great Conspiracy of 365, AD 365. I think that's the date. And in that year, Roman Britain basically fell apart completely. Then it was recovered by a Roman emperor, future Roman emperor. I think that was Theodosius. Anyway, my dates and stuff are all over the place at this minute. And then basically we've got Roman Britain collapsing again and being regained by Rome. These things are happening all the time. And these standing stones with emperors' names inscribed on them tell us something, right? They tell us that why are these stones got Roman emperors inscriptions on them? What's going on to actually need these stones with the names of Roman emperors on them, right? So anyway, moving on again. So this oh yeah, we've just done that one. Oh, anyway, we'll just double check we've done that one. Yes, we have. Hang on, 305. Hang on. Oh no, this is a different one. This is another one that's lost. This is the third one that's lost. Sorry. And actually, this is another point. So if you, this is why I needed to do this tonight, because when you look at these, what's going on with the Roman stuff at Bitton, right, and a possible link, you know, me talking about his possible link with Caligula and whatever, it basically says 4 milestones, right? No, there's 5, right? There's 5 recorded, not 4. And this is something else as well. So I'm glad I just didn't go with this, right? So that's great. So this is a really interesting one. This is another one that's lost, which is found in 1804. A square stone of very neat workmanship, apparently cut down from a milestone, right? So in other words, you've got a stone carved milestone that's been cut down to be another milestone for something else, blah, 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 which we're going to look at now. This one is, there you go, the dimensions are perfect there. 0.381 by 0.381 meters, right? That's lost as well. And here we go. There it is. Nice little dinky one, isn't it? So again, it's all over the shop. But then again, it's a sketch. It's a sketch back in the day of something's become lost, right? Something Caesar's peanuts, whatever. So the translation there is Imperator Caesari Gaio Asuio Tetricio. Now Tetricio Tetricus Felicio Augustus. So that's really interesting because Tetricus is a really interesting character. And Tetricus has got more than one standing stone in this locality associated with him, right? Because Tetricus, I used to have a coin of Tetricus, Gaius Pius Ursuvius Tetricus. Now, this is a really interesting guy. This guy reigned for 3 years, right? Oh, let's tell you a little bit of, you know, we love a bit of history about Roman emperors. We really do, right? Let's just get into it. So this guy Tetricus, you could, and actually, if you ever want to start collecting coins, yes. You need my yes, I told you need my Romans book as well, and I mentioned that last week. So Tetricus, if you all got my Romans book in front of you, right? So this is the thing. Hang on, there's a digest of Roman emperors' names at the back of my book. Hang on, oh, here we go. So if you go to page 137, right, there's a list of Roman emperors, right? And what you've got some really weird names for Roman emperors there, right? I don't know if you're looking at the book, but then you start to see that on the next page, which is page 138, right? You'll see that there's loads of localities associated with Tetricus 1 and Tetricus 2, right, where coins have actually been found. So if you're really into collecting Roman coins, right, Tetricus is the one that you should go for, because there's loads of his coins about. Because this Tetricus guy, right, was doing big stuff, and he was doing big stuff at Southampton. This is why we've got 3 standing stones in the area of in Southampton associated with Tetricus, right? So that's the point I mentioned earlier on. It's like out of the 5 standing stones, 3 are associated with Tetricus, right? And the point is, it sort of explodes, right? It sort of explodes what we know about this one guy in history. He may have been like a minor sort of emperor who only reigned for 3 years, right? Anyway, back to Tetricus. It basically says Tetricus, Caius, and there's a link there. Caius is also the chosen name that Caligula wanted to be called, right? before he was assassinated in AD 41. So so this is Tetricus, who reigned from 270 to 273. Pius Assuvius Tetricus, we don't know when he was born. He was proclaimed emperor following the death of Victorinus, who was assassinated by his own officers. Anyway, Tetricus, he may have been related to Victorinus, we're not really sure. He was deposed by Aurelian. We've seen a standing stone associated with Aurelian earlier on, in late AD 273. But he was pardoned and given a post as a governor in southern Italy. Nice, isn't it? So he was an emperor, and he said, hey, look, mate, you can either be a governor, or I can, you know, or you can die, right? So, and he was about for about 3 years. So, loving all of this stuff, we love this detail, right? And this is real good information that tells us about what's going on in regards to Roman emperors and everything else like that. So Aurelian is mentioned in my book on page 137 under coins as well, and he basically reigned for another 2 years after getting rid of Tetricus. Anyway, moving on. So this is another one. This is one that was saved from complete ignominy. This is now in the Sea City Museum, right? It's basically this is in store. It's a quadrangular pillar. So yeah, quadrangular, with the face dressed flat to take a panel. So we're talking about under a meter there. We're talking about 0.7 meters by 20 odd centimeters. So it's really odd quadrangular type pillar. And again, this is associated with Tetricus again. This is another one, but this one has actually survived. So, and there it is. Hang on, where is it? There it is. There you go. This is survived, associated with Tetricus. And you can start to see that this is quite weird in the way it's been carved, right? And it looks really weird is probably because the people carving it weren't really too sure on Times Roman carvings and stuff, and it looks a bit sort of all over the shop, right? And if we sort of go with the sort of again, you know, milestone associated with Tetricus, and it basically says there his name, Emperor Caesar Gaius, there you go, and Pius, Pius, but Pio, Assuvio Tetrico, and again, this is Pius Felix Augustus. Now, Felix is the name usually given to emperors who actually fought associated with the Germanic frontier. It's like another title given. So all these things are titles, you know, really interesting information there. The same with coins. And then this other one, if we're looking, again, this is associated with Tetricus. This is the third Tetricus. We'll go to what, yeah, there you go. So this is what happens. We'll go to the carving in a minute. This is what happens when we get a standing stone that's actually been carved in the horizontal, and now it's been carved in the vertical. So basically somebody's just carving over letters, right? And one set of letters, the final ones at the top, look sort of a little bit better than the other stuff, right? So if we're gonna think about this stone itself, again, this is the second one that survived, and I do believe this is in store as well. This was found in 1845. It's talking about, this is quite a big one, over a meter, half a meter by a meter, and the panel thickness is 30 centimeters thick. It's the epigraphic information. This is done in limestone. we haven't mentioned what was actually, so there we go. It's talking about sort of the Masons' errors there. And it's talking about this was associated with Gordianus. And then it was over carved with Tetricus, right? So Gordianus is that one there, right? And then somebody else has then carved this stuff on for Tetricus. So again, when we look at this information, Gordianus is depending which Gordianus there is, because there's 3 of them. So in my book again on page 136, you've got 3 Gordianuses from 238 to 244. Right, 2 Gordianuses didn't actually make 6 months. But anyway, the point is, not many coins of these guys are found in sort of South Wales anyway. But you can basically see that is one of the things about these stones. They're sort of reused and recycled, new inscriptions. And I think what wants to be said, right, is here is Tetricus, right? We want to know, people to know that Tetricus is, he's influenced in the area. It's probably really unlikely they actually ever came to Southampton, but maybe I did or he didn't. But people who actually, his followers, wanted to make sure that the money that was being ploughed into Southampton, in our place, the name of Crescentium, money being ploughed into this was under the direction of the likes of Tetricus. You can obviously see that on these stones, and basically where we get an idea of these carvings in wonderful bitten manner, right? So hang on a minute. Oh yeah, I forgot about. Hang on a minute. There was more. Yeah, there was. There was another. Actually, yeah, no, I miscalculated. There's more than 5. Yeah, I remember going through this earlier on. So again, what we've got is where we got this one, and then we got another one that they also found in the area, associated with the town. And this is in store in a museum. So again, this is a rather interesting one, and again, lots of these were found at the beginning of the 1800s, 1804, and this is the elements there are just sort of, this is similar to that one, 0.381, which was 0.381 square, but this is not 0.381 by 0.38 3838, and basically we've got this one dating again. So all these date from the mid 200s, which again is really, really interesting. This is again linked to a Roman emperor called Volusian. Volusian, again, lots of these. This is what's happening. One of the things that's happening, and maybe I should do a little bit of an explanation on this, is that what's happening is that the Roman world is gone into a bit of a strange situation in basically from about the 230s, 240s, 250s, all the way to the 300s. There's loads of stuff going on, and it tells us that for some reason Southampton was a really important locality, and you've got more carvings on this. And again, some of these carvings don't look perfect. They look quite poor in the way the lettering is. And we've got another one here as well. This one's in the Sea City Museum, right? So obviously I can't count because we're into about 6 now. So this is quite an interesting inscription. That there, they got all this information out. So what you can clearly see what epigraphic experts are doing. If I can do this right, so what there is that is these here, right, are actually what's carved on the stone, right? this is what's carved on the stone, right? And the point with all of this is that there are initials, right? So there'll be initials with a bit of a space, an initial. Augustus, everyone knows what Augustus means. And we're talking about, there might be initials for Bulgarum, Belgium, Augustus, and we're thinking this was just an initials on a stone. This is what we're talking about. It's illegible, really, but when we're talking about understanding what's going on, is again, this tells another story. Gordianus again, from 238 to 244, for the emperor Caesar Marcus Antonius Gordianus Pius Felix Augustus, and he's basically when it says the canton of the Belgi, this is associated with the town of the Belgi people. This is basically the fort Clasentium commanded the town of the Belgi people, right? So, and again, this is an inscription again associated with an emperor that very few people would come across. Again, this is mentioned in my book in 136 when we look at Romans in South Wales. There's been a couple of coins found associated with Guridian in South Wales, and again, these things being inscribed, this is not history, this is living, breathing archaeology. This is textual archaeology, which is something that the Romans are good at in Roman era Britain. And there are thousands and thousands of inscribed stones in Britain. We've got volumes and volumes of inscribed stones, and lots of inscribed stones which have been found in the 1700s, 1800s. We don't know where they've gone. They've just disappeared. But what we've got sketches like this. Luckily, this one did survive, you know. So the issue with all of this is that it really does place Clasentium on the map, and this was one of the things that is very disconcerting with lots of historians and archaeologists researching Roman sites. When they get lots of information like this, they basically say, oh, we're still not sure it's Clasentium, when we've got ditches and we've got lots of other archaeological evidence. So the archaeological evidence for Clasentium, which I managed to sort of dig a little bit out when I get to my other notes. Hang on a minute, Clasentium. I did have it in front of me a second ago. Site. Right. So they have done lots of excavations at Clasentium, and it sort of juts out, as you can see, that it juts out into the sea, called Bitten Manor. So they've excavated there in the 1930s, 1950s. Excavations show that this is an early Roman era town, possibly dating from about the AD 50s or slightly before. And they've got other material like these stones, and the excavators have seen that a wall was erected in the 370s, which is quite late for a Roman wall. And this is quite late. What they found in more recent times in that area is a bathhouse dating from the 100s, other military stuff, other things associated with sort of domestic occupation, and obviously these milestones that they found, not the 4 that I was saying, but we got 6 of them. So this again, when you're looking at archaeological evidence, there's lots of archaeology, and again, this was going to be sort of a last sort of historical thing that we were doing tonight, to sort of get to grips a little bit more with Caligula. And what we're going to do next, we're going to go on to the Legio 22nd primogenia. So if we can get that to that now. Oh, yeah, there it is. So when you do research on primogenia, right, it's really interesting. This one, it's the 22nd primogenia, Roman legion, and there is their stamp. And this legion was established by Caligula. And we're thinking, okay, let's sort of, let's forget that Caligula founded this legion, but he didn't. Start again. Sorry. Let's forget the fact that Caligula didn't found this legion, but he actually did. He did found this legion. That's what's really, really important about this. And the information that we get is linked with, we'll come across this in a minute, is that the 22nd Legion did come to Britain, right? And that's a really interesting thing, that the Legion coming to Britain tells us a story that is slightly different than what lots of historians might tell you. So lots of historians might tell you the following, because we've got this written down, and we get this from Roman tiles. We got the 20th Valley of Vitrix Legion that's stationed in Britain for a long time. We got the 2nd Augustus Legion, which is stationed in Britain for a very long time. Now, the 20th Valley of Vitrix Legion, we'll come across that when we come across Boudica and tiles associated with that legion. We'll come across the 2nd Augustus Legion, which is very much here for a long time as well. We talk about the 9th Legion, the 9th Hispanic Legion, and lots of people talk about the 9th Legion. They talk about it as being a legion that disappears into Scotland. They talk about the 9th Legion disappearing with campaigns in the eastern part of the Roman Empire. But the one thing, and then we get the 2nd Old Dietrich's Legion, which is something that people don't talk about. You've also got the 6th Legion in Britain as well. And you've got a few other legions which we'll talk about in time. We don't need to talk about them tonight. But this is a legion that's got some presence in Britain, right? When I found this stamp, so basically there are legionary stamps, right? I used to have a legionary stamp. Well, it was a replica, but I used to actually have a legionary stamp. I used to be quite proud of it. And I used to stamp tiles and stuff. But anyway, this is quite a big legionary stamp, because usually on the legionary stamp you get LEG 2, right? Well, 2nd Augusta Legion, right? But this has got the Legion 22nd, and it's got the Primogenia Legion sort of initials on there as well. And when we sort of when we think about this, it's a ceramic find. It's found at Sudley Castle, and it's just like thinking, well, hang on a minute, it's a stamp. It's a stamp on a tile, right? So basically, it's to indicate that that they were making tiles for the construction of roofs, hypercore system. This is associated with a tile of a hypercourse tile, a central heating tile, right? And when you look at Roman military industry, right? The Roman military were the ones who were actually responsible for making lots of these tiles. And initially, what you do see in the very early stages of Roman era Britain is that you get millions of these stamped tiles across Britain. But again, this is extremely rare from Sudley Castle, which is in fact where Sudley Castle hang on a minute, we actually showed you a location of Sedley Castle. There, that's where Sedley Castle is. And so what are we doing with it? Again, what's it doing there, right? And this type of thing really intrigues me, because it's something different. It's out of the blue, because we got tens of thousands of stamps of the Second Augusta Legion, which is basically just above Newport. You've got a place called Caligula, right? And there's thousands of tiles there, right? Loads of them with stamps on, right? But to find this thing here is really, really interesting. And I started doing a little bit of research on this. So it's some people have said, oh, it was taken from Europe and it was accidentally dropped in Suddenly grounds and so on. In more recent times, and I think, oh God, I can't deal with this. Let's just think about this thing as a piece of archaeology, right? And so that's basically there. So basically, the Legion of the 22nd, it was known as the Primagena Legion, Pia Fidelis, and again associated with, and there's its RIB is basically the Roman index for carvings and stamps from anything carved from the Roman era. Dave has just joined us. Sorry guys, we're gonna have to go off this. Andy, I didn't let you on thingamabob. So well, David's a bit late, isn't he? Admit. Andy, I'm going to let you on thingamabob.
Okay.
Is that all sounding well?
Yep.
Good. What time is it anyway? It's 8 o'clock, 8:07. So let's go back, make you co-host. We'll be having a little bit of a break in a few moments. Anyway, nice to have you on, David. We were talking about an interesting little find that we've come across in Gloucester, David. So we'll get back to that now. So let's go to there. And right, let's go to there, and we'll go to there. So again, thinking about this, so we'll look at a little bit of information again, back to the stamp so David can see it. Goes finding this in Sedley Castle grounds. Again, this is another point with archaeology, right? As I take a little slurp, because Drina's going to be upset if I'm not sounding really loud, aren't you, Drina?
Oh, yeah.
I got to get the Lucasade down me, do you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, Drina, right? As Anne's not here tonight to lecture me, right? Or even though we love her to bits, right? I found out that buying cans of Lucasade, right, is far better for the environment than buying plastic bottles of Lucasade, because we can recycle these cans, right? And the plastic bottles get burnt and melted and destroyed by the local authority. So isn't it better to buy the cans, Drina?
Much better. Better to not get it at all, but if you have to.
Drina!
Sorry.
Yeah, can I just mention it? You and I are going to fall out. You're a nightmare. 1 minute you're moaning that my voice isn't loud enough. I get something to make my voice loud enough, and now you're moaning. Typical woman. Anyway, let's move on. So, Drina, we love you to bits. So anyway, the 22nd Legion, known as the Legion 22nd Primagena and dedicated to Fortuna Primagena, the goddess of fortune. So again, associated with Caligula, this is really interesting, was a unit of the Imperial Roman Army. Emperor Caligula established this legion in AD 39. Could you stop there a minute? We're just thinking, well, hang on a minute, hang on, right? This is one of those oddments, right? So let's go through the list. Anything associated with Caligula would have been defaced and said Caligula didn't do it, right? He certainly didn't invade Britain. He didn't build this. He didn't do this. He didn't do this. But then you've got a Roman legion that's established by Caligula, right? That remains as a legion that Caligula in history founded, which I think is really weird, right? They missed that one. primarily for his military campaigns in Germania. Hang on a minute. Hang on. That makes sense, doesn't it? He established a Roman legion in northern sort of Europe, right? Northwestern Europe for campaigning in Germania, right? And it survived. So doesn't that tell us one thing? That his campaigns against the Germans were actually quite successful, because one, the legion survived, and secondly, it's still around 100, 200 years later. That's an interesting fact which has been missed. If this Roman emperor is such a nut job, right, how is a key Roman legion established by him still in existence? Leave it there, folks. Don't conversation. Just leave it there. And the legion was mainly stationed in Mogontiacum, now known as Mainz, which I'm going to show you, where it remained active until the late 200s. Its emblems included a Capricorn and the demigod Hercules. Well, you know, whoever's just left us now, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, hopefully David just didn't leave us then. Hopefully he's still with us. But anyway, he's left us.
Yeah, it's not on the list.
Is this something you said, Andy? Anyway, he couldn't cope with the argument with me and Drina. Anyway, so well, at least he joined us for a while, right? So anyway, Capricorn is I'm actually a Capricorn, so it's great. Yeah, so they're associated. Yeah, there's the link. Anyway, so got a tiny bit more there, and we'll talk about that in a moment, right? So you got to say this quickly. Mogontiacum. There you go. Done it. Mogontiacum. There's mates, and this is the thing when we think about this is well in Germany, folks. We're loving it. And we're thinking, well, some of the best Roman remains are actually in Germany. Strangely enough, I did. Was it in the pandemic? We had a class that some of you guys may not have been aware of. We had like a Roman class afternoon, and we went around the Roman world and we looked at the Roman remains in Germany. It's fascinating, loads of it. So there it is, and oh, and look at that Roman theatre, massive. There's some really great Roman remains in Mogon. I can't say it. Mogontiacum, Mainz, and it's half a theatre that you can see there. But it's really, and you're looking at that and thinking, hang on a minute, that's really much better. Right, the wall in front, right, is actually not part of the theatre, but the steps obviously are, because they've only excavated half of it, right? Anyway, the point is with this, right, is it's far better preserved than anything in Roman era Britain, and you're just thinking, well, why is that? Leave that question there. Anyway, little bit more, and then we'll probably have a break actually. So there we go. Mogontiacum in Roman province of Germania Superior. By the way, folks, yes, there was Germania Inferior. There you go. Like there was in Britain, Britannia Inferior and Britannia Superior. But we're not going to tell you which are the inferior and which are the superior yet, folks. Right? Maybe we might not. So, Legion the 22nd played a crucial role in guarding the Rhine border as part of the Limes. Now, we all know what the Limes are, don't we, Drina? The Roman defences around the Roman Empire. That's what the Limes... See? Job done. What's that? Anyway, the Roman Empire's frontier system in the tumultuous years of the four emperors. Yes. Now this is really interesting. So we go quickly. We're going to go to the four emperors in a minute. This is really great as well. So go to the four emperors. Do you know, I love using this book. I love using books when I'm teaching. Right. So we've got the four emperors. So we've got after the death of Nero, right? You've got the following. You've got 5 emperors after the death of Nero, right? Hang on a minute. It says 4. No, it's 5. But there's 4 in 1 year. Right. Let me explain. Right. So Claudius Macer, right? Claudius Macer right, decided that he would become emperor after the death of Nero, right? It didn't last long because Galba took over. Galba, and then Otho, and then Vitellius. Now, right, okay, so Gordia Mesa was in AD 68, the same year Nero died, murdered, well, died, well, suicide. Could you say murder? I don't know, he was forced to. Anyway, so in the next year, AD 69, the year of the 4 emperors, so you got that, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Lloyd George, oh no, I got that wrong. I had to put him in there. Vespasian, right? And then Vespasian carried on for a little while. So anyway, so Vitellius, so this is the point, right? The Pre-Magina Legion, right, was friends with the likes of Vitellius, right, in Germania. But we'll move on from that. So obviously Vitellius didn't last long. Lasted a matter of months. And it goes on to say nothing more about that. Anyway, but it survived. So they decided, Vitellius, we don't want you as emperor anymore. Now, bugger off. So during the Batavian rebellion under the command of Gaius Idilius Vocula, Gaius, it seems to be a great name. If I ever have children with Drina, we'll call our son Gaius. Oh God, Michelle's not here. I hope she didn't hear that. Anyway, Legion 22nd Primogenia distinguished itself as the sole Germanic legion to withstand rebel assaults. The sole Germanic legion, the only one ever, right? Staunchly defended its base at Mogonte, whatever. So the legion's presence at Mainz, there we go, persisted well into the late 200s. Notably, the future Emperor Hadrian served as a military tribune in this legion around AD 97 and AD 98. On that note, I'm knackered, right? I wish Michelle had hurry up and... oh! We haven't done this! Sorry. I'll have to do it after the break. Sorry about that. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find these wooden coffins. Andy has really upset me now because he should have phoned me and said, Andy, do you know about the wooden coffins? Oh, yes. Yes, something I've got to say. Right, we'll do that. Do that. There we go. Hang on. Go. Stop. Sorted. Oh, I'm worn out now. Will, can I cuddle up with you and your beard? Cool. I knew you'd say yeah. Right, okay. Where's he gone? What is it? What am I going to do? David must be the Pimpernel, right? Because I don't think he's the Scarlet Pimpernel of these classes. We'll have to, yeah. Anyway, right, who am I going to do first? Will.
Can't hear you, Will.
Will.
Can't hear you.
Hang on. Right.
What?
Yeah. Okay, you got me now. The Gallic Empire separated from the Roman Empire. So it was Britain, Germany, Hispania, the western side of the Roman Empire. From when you had the started with your Tertius, from the period 160 to 170.
Have you been looking at my book? Because
about 14 years. Okay,
that's what
14
I've got in
years.
my book. It's there.
Yeah, 14 years, the Gallic Empire. Secondly, Spoonley Wood Roman remains, a fortress outside of Sudeley Castle. Quite likely that tile could have come from the Roman fort, reused like everything else. Go and steal out of the old wall that's sitting on the side of the road that nobody else is using, and we're going to build a house and a castle.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's true.
And if you look at the leader map actually shows remains. I'll have to look at Google Earth. I'll let you know next week if I come across anything that looks pertinent.
Oh my God! Stop using these words like pertinent. Who uses the word like pertinent other than only educated word people use the word pertinent because it makes us look like right numpties.
Well,
Right,
what about impertinent?
Oh, we use that a lot.
Oh, we're using continents.
There you are. See?
Impertinent.
Anyway.
What?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad
Roman
you
storms
agree.
disappeared.
I'm glad you agree. I'm glad you agree. It's happy to. We'll try and find the coffins after the break. And a fleet. We'll go there. We'll add Minas. We got to do him as well.
Well, the coffins I saw were in 2024. Actually, there is a site with them, and it says a funerary bed and reference the coffins in one article. I found that on the internet, which you should find by a simple search, Carl.
Can I just mention, right? Should I just mention the obvious, right? Why is it you and Margaret seem to be doing loads of research in my classes, right? So that must mean you're not listening to the thing I'm saying, right? There you go.
Every word. Got it all.
I even said that me and Drina were going to have a love child, and Margaret didn't even pick up on it, so she couldn't have been listening. Look, Will, don't take it the wrong way. I love your beard, but I don't fancy you, Will.
Hey, Carl, I trimmed it especially for this week.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trimmed mine and I shaved it all off.
Salavi.
You have to change your barber, Will.
Let's move on, eh?
Yeah, I think we should move on. Will, yeah, I think we should, yeah. He trimmed it, flippin' heck. God, Santa Claus, eh? Right, Margaret.
Talking about the milestones.
Yeah, I knew him.
Given that most people that use the roads would have been illiterate, I guess they just put very basic information on them that that the general public could recognise.
Yeah, but the big question is, did they put them on for? Did they really want anyone to realise anything?
Well, the whole point was that people knew how far they'd gone and how much further they were going, and
True.
who the emperor was.
True.
So
it was Emperor Dave last week. Can you imagine if the Welsh did this thing? It'd be like Emperor Jones the first. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? And then next week, next month, there's like another Emperor Jones. You wouldn't know where you were. It'd just be starting. Oh, it's in the reign of Emperor Jones 1. And then 5 years later, he's dead. And then you've got another Emperor Jones 1. You'd always be in year 1.
Did the Romans always have 3 names?
They had loads. Hang on a minute. Let me do this a minute. What about this? Caracalla was his nickname, actually. Caracalla. He took his dad's name, Septimus Bassianus Marcus Aurelius Antoninus.
Oh, that's just greedy, isn't it?
What about this one? There's a Roman emperor, right? In the year, I love this. He was 10 years old, right? He was put to death by his dad. What? No, that can't be right. Let's start again. There was a Roman emperor called Diadumenian, right? Who was born in AD 208. He died in AD 218, put to death soon after his father's execution. Poor little bugger, right? And do you know what he was called? He was called Marcus Apelius Dardanus. And then he was Marcus Apelius Antoninus Dardanus, right? So there we go.
So he got more than 3 names then.
Yeah, they weren't picky. And Caligula was Caius Caesar Germanicus.
Oh, that's just 3.
Yeah, right then. Look, what about this one? You're going to love this one. Nero was Nero Claudius Caesar Drusus Germanicus.
So Germanicus, yeah.
Yeah, Germanicus. Everyone likes a bit of
That
Germanicus.
was his father's name, Margaret.
Oh, okay.
So
No!
so
No, 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 no.
Yes.
Who we on? No, who are we on about
Germanicus
now?
was Caligula's father, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, but there was a Germanicus who was also Nero's uncle, but it was the same
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no. No,
family.
Yeah, because Drusus and Nero were the brothers of Caligula, who were both killed.
Yeah.
But so those Nero and Drusus and Germanicus are nicked by Nero, who seems to nick everything, including fiddles, as Rome burned.
What happened to did Caligula have a wife? I can't remember.
Yeah, Agrippina.
Oh,
His half sister, sister.
Oh, right.
Sister.
And was she murdered?
No, she carried on. She just murdered everyone else. She was a bit, into it, like, it was so.
Carl, did you share that text file I sent you with the Pilates that gave the background on Caligula and on the Romans?
I sent most of them out. Oh, by the way, before I do this, before I do Agrippina, right? Yes, I am sending your stuff out. I am sending your stuff out, Will, right? So that's great. We're going to do this now, right? I would like to mention two things before I do this bit. Yeah, this is going on forever. We've actually got a Facebook page now, which I've sent you all a link for, which is our Romans Facebook page. So I'd like you to be all on that. So I'll send another link out to you all. And the other thing is, the other reminder, guys, is I haven't mentioned this, but I should have mentioned this last week. Money is now due for March and April. Margaret's going to say she'll pay it at the beginning of the month. I know, Margaret, right?
Sorted it. I've sorted it already because I'm not at home. So I've sorted it.
What, do you want a medal for that? All right,
Yes,
then.
please.
So I was just going to say the £50 are now due for March and April, right? That's done. I've said it. It's over. I wanted to... Right, let's do this one, right? Let's do Agrippina before we go on. Caligula's... Right. Caligula had 3 sisters, right? And 2 brothers, right? So let's go through this. Caligula, Nero and Drusus. Nero was murdered in AD 30. Drusus was murdered in AD 33 by under the orders of Tiberius, right? So then that leaves Caligula thinking, oh my God, my brothers have been killed. His sister Drusilla dies in the reign of Caligula in AD 38. And Julia Livilla is likely also assassinated in AD 41, the same year that Caligula is assassinated. However, Agrippina Jr. carries on.
Oh,
That's the only remaining member of the family of Caligula's family. She gets revenge now. She gets revenge on the state for everyone. She gets revenge on the murder of her father, right? The murder of her mother, the murder of Saint George the Apostle, right? And everyone, right? So she's the only one left, right? So, and then she, right, becomes the final wife of Claudius, right? And she poisons the bastard, right? And then
doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So that basically, and then basically, Agrippina Jr. sort of is a little bit of a mumsy to Nero, right? And then to basically get Nero in, right? So Agrippina Jr. is part of that, but she doesn't get what she wants in the reign of Nero. So she ends up dying in AD 59. So
what did she want?
Well, she wanted Nero to do what she wanted.
And he wouldn't.
He wouldn't. He says, I'm not doing it anymore. Go away.
Typical man.
Save me. Oh, right. God. Anyway, Gina, anything you want to tell us other than the fact that you're deeply in love with me, but we all know that, you creep.
Oh,
Right, anything you want to say?
You're going to keep that secret.
Nobody knows.
Oh, okay. That's all right then. If they had so many names, what name would they pick to be called by?
This is the point.
Like the first name or take your pick.
Caligula wanted to be known as Caius, but to basically he was then known in history as Caligula.
Right.
Because basically it was a bit of a pee take of the fact that he used to be called Caligula by his father's soldiers as Little Boot. However, I think Caligula had the last laugh because you know he was taken into battle with his dad Germanicus, right? And I think the last laugh is that at least he went to bloody war, unlike Claudius.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing. No, go on.
Hang on, I haven't finished yet.
Sorry.
The other thing as well is that his legion, the legion of the 22nd Primogena, you know, that legion that survived. What about Claudius? There you go. Drina, back over to you, love.
That Claudius was only in Britain.
Hang on, nobody asked you. Go on, what?
I've just been reading a book, a really good book, actually.
Well, whilst I've been doing the lecture, oh, well done. That says it all, doesn't it?
It said Claudius was only in Britain for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, it says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He came, he saw, he conquered, and took all the credit.
It's just on holiday. Package tour.
Well, somebody had to go to Barry Island,
On
didn't
the
they?
initial voyage, did he? He came later and just stayed for 2 weeks, and yet he gets all the glory.
Exactly. See, I told you somebody would believe me.
Just not on, is it?
It's not on. I tell you what. Should we wander around Britain, me and you, Margaret, with our loincloths?
Too cold.
With a flag saying "We love Caligula." Right. Anyway, crack on. Right. What, Margaret? No. Yeah, hang on, Margaret. You took it with Trina.
What would you expect to see on the milepost?
Actually, what you'd expect to see on the milepost is exactly these things. I.e., you would expect to see a dedication to a Roman emperor.
Right. Okay.
Basically, it's a marker. El Cid was here, basically, and this is what lots of these stones are about. They in a sense, they're not there to actually show that you're 10 miles away from London. It's just an indication of the route way of the Roman road. But Roman mile markers are thus mile markers. They tell you that, you know, you got to get to the next mile marker, which is dedicated to Andy, right? It doesn't necessarily mean to say it's pointing towards Eberach York. It's just basically get to the next mile marker and you'd be fed, that type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any up in Scotland?
Yep, there's quite a lot in Scotland. Yes, there is. I'm being sensible now. Yes, there is. Anything else, Drina? No?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Right, Judith has fallen asleep, but then again, don't she often? Right, Drina. Not Drina, Judith. Oh, Judith. Hey! Judith! Oh, she's gone. Right. I don't know. She's gone to see to a...
No, I'm not. I'm here. Sorry, I am here. I couldn't find the mute button. Sorry, unmute. I am here.
Well, go on. Let's say something now. You come
it's
on.
Very interesting. I'm going to look out for this 22 everywhere I look. It's like a little code, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The thing is, this is the point. There's stuff. So this is why the history doesn't make sense sometimes. That you're just relying upon everything about history, right? And then, you know, I can remember being taught at school, you know, it's like, you know, the 6th Legion comes in eventually somewhere and you had this Legion and that Legion. I remember when I was in school, it was 20, listen to this, 20th Valia Vitrix Legion, 9th Hispanic Legion, and the 2nd Augustus Legion. It's inscribed in my head, it's there, right? Yeah, it's just that. But then you see that there's this other legion, and there's the Germania Legion and the Auditrix Legion, and you're thinking, well, all right, then there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And that's another point. Right, sorry, that's another point. And I've really got to say this, right? That just because you hear a lot about the Ninth Legion disappeared, right? They didn't all go to battle on a Wednesday afternoon. There would be the Roman army worked very similar to a modern army, right? And let me explain. So they would say, right, we're going to send 10,000 troops to the Ukraine, right? But you basically need another 10 to 15,000 troops to support those 10,000 troops in Ukraine. So basically, if you're going to have a garrison of 10,000 troops in Ukraine, you've got to have those people going home. People are going to fall sick. People are going to be retiring and all the rest of it, right? So this is the thing that people don't understand with an army. You might have a regiment, but a big chunk of the regiment is elsewhere. It's not always on the front line. So there would be you might have a legionary base in Europe, which would be the home of the Second Augustus Legion, but then they would have another base here and they would have another base there. So if somebody says, oh, the Ninth Legion's been wiped out, there's still members of the Ninth Legion elsewhere being sick or being trained. So you cannot completely destroy a Roman army in one moment. And it's like one last thing, that there are Roman legions that are still about well after the Roman Empire collapses. We've got a Roman legion that's still serving as mercenary. They become mercenaries, still with some of the original equipment in like the AD 800s. This is hundreds of years after the Roman Empire collapsed, because they were so well trained, so used to war, and there was such a tradition that it would carry on. It's a bit like the Nepalese Gurkhas, right? They're still in the British Army but the British Army is long since the British Empire is long since no longer exists, but they're still in the British Army. That's exactly what happened with the Roman army. And Andy, anything you want to say? Because I gotta put the cat.
No,
on the
I'm
phone.
good, thanks.
Right, okay, folks. Has this sounded really well tonight?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to go to pot after the break, but that's like we'll have a 12-minute break or something. We'll be back at 8:50.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir.
Oh, hey, I like that. It was really butch. Oh, Jenny Gen Elevation. Yes, windage elevation, and Will sent me the recording of that.
Did he?
Yeah, he found the snippet. This is challenge and elevation. Oh no, windage elevation. Right, I gotta go. I gotta have a break.
Who said hot diggity do?
Shut up. back again, Tart. Happy with you, sir. I'm not happy with something. Oh my God. Do you know what? I've just been told by my daughter, right? She wants to marry a bloke with the most weirdest name ever. He's a nice bloke, but I don't think his surname's any good. I'm just a bit upset. And she wants to hyphenate the name.
I wanted to hyphenate my last name all those years ago. Wish I had now.
Yeah, I wish I kept my maiden name.
Do you know what? Do you know the bloke who his surname, right, is Stippledunk?
No, it's not. You've made that up.
It is.
No, where's he from? Is he Dutch? It sounds a bit Dutch.
My daughter's called Emily. She wants it Emily Langford Stippledunk.
Say it again. Sniffledunk.
No, Stippledunk.
Well, it's nearly as bad. Stippledunk.
Stippledunk.
Is he German?
No, he's British.
Well, he's made that up. I've never heard that surname before.
How can you make up a name like that? Can you imagine? My daughter is called Emily Langford Stippledunk.
And think of the grandchildren.
Oh my God. Can you imagine going to school with that name? Oh, what's your name? Langford Stippledunk, stand up.
Could be worse. Could be Trump.
Langford Trump. That's true. Oh, what do you have to spoil it for, Andy? Right. Okay then. By the end of this, right, we got to get to Andy, right? Andy, you got to get your North Sea head on, right? Because this is at the end we're going to talk about an invasion from Amsterdam to Norfolk, right? But that's at the end, right? Andy's got to get his swells in. He's got to get his orientation of winds and all the rest of it. But that's at the end, right? So, Will, I don't care. Right, okay. Right, all right then. Let's. That's not right. There's a place called Curry Harbour. What? Curry Harbour. Fair enough, if that's what they want to call it. Right, okay, then let's crack on. So we've still got a bit of adminis. We've got oh no! I was so upset with my daughter getting married to this bloke called Stippledunk. He's a nice guy, but that's not the point. We're gonna do a search online now for Stippledunk Hall. No, we're not. That's for me to do afterwards. I'm sure one of you will do research about Stippledunk Hall, but we're not. We're gonna do this research now. Yeah. Oh God. And his sister's called Esme Stippledunk. Right. Right, so here we go. So we're going to type in, right, Norfolk. No, we don't want that yet. Right, flipping heck. Matron, shut your face. Right, Roman wooden coffins, right? No, I don't want to. No, we've already done wooden gladiuses. Wooden coffins, and if we type in Fleet, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, after Fleet Street. Yeah, it does ring a bell, right? Okay, preserved. Oh, there it is. It's there. Museum. Hang on a minute. Museum of Archaeological News. That can't be right, can it? All right. Preserved by the damp mud of the River Fleet. The oak coffins and funeral bed dating back almost 2,000 years on the 14th of August are incredibly rare finds. Only 3 well-preserved Roman timber coffins have ever previously been found in London. Here, archaeologists have already uncovered a further 5. Great, isn't it? Is it? That's right. It's the Holborn excavation. There it is. Holborn excavation. Flat pack bed. No, there's a freaking bed there. We don't want a bed. That sounds really interesting about a bed, but we're not doing a funerary bed. Where's this thing, Andy? Oh, hang on. Look at that.
I think the bed was with him. So it might be the same site.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Is it? A funerary bed found. Could that be it, Andy?
Yeah, it also says underneath the bed, this is a coffin as well. So
Right, first complete Roman funerary bed among extraordinary new archaeological discoveries in central London. Look, there's the bed. It's great. I could be cuddled up on there with Margaret. Excavations at a site near Holborn Viaduct by Mola have uncovered 5 rare Roman oak coffins and possibly the first complete Roman funerary bed found in Britain. The end. As well as containing a Roman cemetery, the site covers an incredible 2,000 years of London's history precisely on the dot. Other finds from the site include timber wells, thought to be part of a medieval tanning workshop. Archaeological excavations near Holborn Viaduct in central London have revealed an extraordinary array of Roman finds, including wooden coffins and what appears to be a funeral bed. Can you see that date there? AD 43 to AD 410. Why? It's wrong. So they're talking about, there we go, preserved by the damp mud of the River Fleet. The oak coffins, a funerary bed dating back almost 2,000 years, are incredibly rare finds. Only 3 well-preserved Roman... We've already done that. Depictions of beds being used as part of funerals are common across the Roman world. However, the funeral bed found at this site is the first complete example ever discovered in Britain. Made from high-quality oak from Arnside, the bed has carved feet and joints fixed with small wooden pegs made by Judith. It was dismantled prior to being placed within the grave, but may have been used to carry the individual to the burial and was likely intended as a grave goods for use in the afterlife. We'll do a bit more, then we'll crack on. Alongside skeletal remains, archaeologists have found personal objects, including beds, a glass vial. We did a glass vial last week. Can you remember? Glass vial. Oh no, it was the week before, wasn't it? Anyway, like Gilbert had, and a decorated lamp. Which is thought to date to the very early Roman period, AD 48 to AD 80. Love it. Other artifacts accompanying burials in the Roman cemetery include high-status jewelry with jet and amber beads. Obviously, amber from the Baltic, so that's good. And finally, we'll just go to this. Heather Knight. Oh, what a great name. It beats Strippledunk, doesn't it? We know the Romans buried dead alongside roads outside of urban centres. So it was no great surprise to discover burials at the site, which during the Roman period would have been located 170 miles west of the city walls and next to the major Roman road of Watling Street. However, the levels of the preservation we've encountered, and particularly uncovering such a vast array of wooden finds, has really blown us away. There we go. Some later stuff there. Archaeologists chalk floors, timber-lined wells, 1200s. Stuff from the 1500s, water pipe. Oh, wooden water pipe. Oh, isn't that great? Oh, love that, don't we? Wooden water pipe from the 1500s, love it. Which appear to have originally been used to pump water on a ship. There you go. It's about, there you go, the Great Fire, and the site saw new life, blah, 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 and there it is, and there's a pub. Right, love it. Thank you very much for that, Andy. You're a great guy. Everyone knows it. Right, so we're going to crack on. Where are we now? There, we don't want that. Oh, yeah, we've got to go to the tower. Not the Tower of London, Judith. We're not going there. That is Roman. I kid you not. That is actually Roman, and that is actually in Mainz as well. Okay? Don't ask me to pronounce the Roman on that one, but that is actually a memorial. And it's a great little find. And if I type in, if I give you some more information on this, I wasn't going to give you more information on this, but I will. So I haven't got these notes in front of me a minute. Mainz Tower. Oh, hang on a minute. There it is. Mainz Tower. Got it straight away. Oh God. Right, so here we go. Hang on a minute. Just. Oh wow. All right, hang on a minute. I just gotta type in something. Mainz. Roman fort. I just saw. I just got distracted by an amazing piece of political news, but I can't tell you because we don't not to be doing Roman on you. But yes. Right. Right. Okay. So this tower itself is part of the military base, and it's still standing today. Absolutely massive tower. And at Mainz itself, they've got loads of stuff that they've actually excavated here, and this was the base as well of the 3 legions that disappeared in the Teutoburg forest in September AD 9, which was the 17th Legion, which was the 18th Legion, and the 19th Legion in Teutoburg forest. This tower itself is a memorial that obviously become as part of the military defences, and not forgetting that the 12th Primogenia Legion is actually based here, and it was a major part of the campaigning to do with Caracalla in 213. So it would be good to actually get to Mainz to sort of look at the archaeology there, and look at structures like this, and obviously the enduring archaeological evidence from this locality. And it's also saying that Mainz itself, as part of the Roman world, was a major locality where Christianity spread in AD 3, 4, 5. So again, most of that masonry is Roman. It does look like a lighthouse, but it's not. It's a tower. Big chunk of it is Roman fabric, and that's still standing today, along with the theatre.
Was that a doorway or a window halfway up?
You can see curves there. Hang on. Yeah, it'd be good to actually come back to this. You can see that there, and that's coming there. And what were you talking about? That there.
Was that originally a window, or?
The thing is, with something like this, Margaret, it'd be good to actually study it, the locality. So maybe I think we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Because Margaret, do I just do I indulge us all and just do a remaining archaeology of Roman remains in Germany, which are astounding and amazing, considering Germany is a massive part of the sort of frontier of the fight between the Germanic people and the Roman world. And obviously it all comes part of the Holy Roman Empire and all that type of stuff, which is something we don't talk about. And the Carolingians and the glass and all these wonderful things. Can't do all that other stuff, but maybe come back to this. Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. We need to come back to this, Margaret, so we'll answer that question then. So this is, I think, one of the things that I wanted to sort of close with Caligula really is that we've already looked at lots of the coin evidence anyway. And one of the things with the coin evidence in Britain was this sort of looking at the Netherlands and Velsen, and a fort in Velsen that has been archaeologically excavated, and that is a military fort, again associated with the Primogenia Legion. So we've looked at Mainz, the Primogenia Legion. We've looked at this one, which is the Primogenia Legion, and it's sort of coming together. And I think what I set out to do in regards to Caligula was to try and make him look better in history. I'm gonna say something, and I'm not gonna hold back, right? Obviously, in the modern day and age, we've got the Prince Andrew stuff, right? And And I'm thinking, right, he's a prince. He will always be a prince. I've spoken to somebody about this who knows their stuff, and they said, you can't not have somebody a prince. If you're born a prince, you're always a prince, right? But whether you like the guy or not, whether you agree he's done something or not, that's not the point. It's not the issue. The point is that now history's gonna write Prince Andrew out of history, and whether you think that's right or wrong, most people say, oh yeah, that's great, let's just get rid of Prince Andrew, it's good. But you had the royal wedding in 1986, and loads of us had a day off, and we thought that was a great thing. And you know, he fought in the Falklands War, but all of that's going to be erased, right? That's not a good thing in history. And it's not a good thing to look at somebody like Caligula and ignore everything that he did. And my aim the past few weeks has been basically saying, right, we did a lot about Julius Caesar. We looked at, we sort of mentioned Augustus and Tiberius. We were going to ignore Caligula, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to basically say that there's something there and then just leave it. But we've had little clues to this figure in history. And we looked at his lighthouse last week. We looked at his Roman fort in France last week. We did all that, and the port and all the rest of it. And this is an example in Amsterdam. And there's the absolutely great reconstruction at Velsen. And they excavated here, and it was quite interesting that we see the history telling us something else, the archaeology telling us more, to be honest. So am I next week we're really gonna get into the Claudius stuff we've got now. Next week it's going to be more to basically look at, say, right, we've got AD 43, what happened in the archaeology, and then we're going to say there's lots of non-events, you know, and then one of you mentioned about Claudius being in Britain for 2 weeks. Maybe he may have not been here that long. And the other thing, I think it was you, Margaret, the other thing is well, who's telling us that that Claudius was here? Who's telling us that? And was Claudius here at all? And there's some historians saying that Claudius never ever got here. And yet then you've got the temple of Claudius at Colchester, and apparently the first he went to Colchester, and the thing is, you've got a Roman emperor going to Colchester, right? Is he going to stay in a tent, or is he going to stay in a building that's already been erected before the Romans invade in AD 43, which is more likely if he's here in the first place? So you've got Velsen, and you're thinking, bingo. And this was the point. I thought, right, you've got Norwich, you've got Norfolk, and you've got Velsen. So when I was looking at the archaeological evidence in sort of East Anglia, there were lots of coins being found in East Anglia, and I will conclude with my notes in front of me, right, on maybe what I'm thinking, right. So what we did the South Coast, we did Southampton, we'll mention Caligula. Do we mention, so if we get this map, right, if we get this little map and we just sort of put a little, we don't want that there. If we get a little map and we take two little red arrows, we'll take two little red arrows. So we've got down here, right? We've got down here, and we've got maybe up around here. Now, when we think about all of this, is it possible that there's any way that Caligula could have had a small expedition to Norfolk, which, to be honest with you, would not leave any archaeological evidence, because Norfolk was completely different back then, right? When I say that it was completely different, there's a lot of erosion occurred since. So, for example, chunks of Norfolk stuck into the sea, right? And other bits of Norfolk have been reclaimed, right? So where any landing space, if there was any landing that I might tantalizingly tiny 1% suggest it within East Anglia, right, all that evidence would have been eroded away. So when you think about Calais and Boulogne, you think about the best place, you know, when we looked at the Boulogne Lighthouse and we looked at the Boulogne Fort and stuff, the best place to maybe land is going to be here, right? If you're talking about Clycentium, you might be heading towards the safe water of the Solent. We don't know, but these are all to sort of give you an idea, to get you away from collecting seashells on the beach that came from two historians that actually hated Caligula. So again, large Roman fort built by Caligula, discovered near Amsterdam. We did that last week, and so there it is. So Roman fort attributed to Caligula, found Velsen, Amsterdam, opposite Norfolk, where Caligula coins have been found, quite a number of them. Could a small invasion have occurred from Velsen? Could it have occurred from Velsen? But we're going to leave that there. We're going to leave that there because I want to mention one other thing to do with Caligula before we get on to my little discussion. And it's a chance for Andy to say that none of this makes sense, right? But before we actually go there, I want to mention a chap by the name of Adminius. So what we've got one of Adminius's predecessors, and it's this guy, right? And this guy is another king of the Cativalano tribe, an area of land north of the River Thames. And this is Andoko. Now, Andoko, there it is. How do we know he's called Andoko? Because his name is on the obverse, which is the front of the coin. And guess what? His name is on the reverse of the coin. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, right, hang on. There's a horse, which is like a British symbol, a ponus. And you've got a guy who looks like a Roman emperor or thereabouts on a coin. Maybe you look like this. Actually, correct me, he doesn't look like a Roman emperor. He looks conceivably like somebody in Britain would have looked like. But the design is definitely Roman. On a coin produced, we're talking about 30 years before Caligula and 30 odd years before the likes of Claudius. And this is really interesting because it's like away from the guy who we're just going to mention in minutes, who's producing coins, and there's a story associated with that. And again, you think of a coin like this produced as a horse with a palatine sun above. These people are Cativalana. It's a bronze coin. It's not. These coins are not usually produced in bronze, but this is produced in bronze. To produce a coin in bronze, because it's got more resistance from the dyes as opposed to a coin in silver and gold, right? That's going to be something really special. He's producing bronze coins. Who produces bronze coins if you're not going to circulate this money with people, right? And the whole point of the Cativalani people north of the River Thames producing coins is that they can get remembered and named, and the name, this is Andoko, the leader of the Cativalani, right? This is the first year of his reign, but he's not a Roman, is he? But he's using Roman era coinage before the Roman empires ever really conquered Britain, 30 plus years before the Roman empires conquered Britain. So when we go to this now, which is a coin associated with a guy by the name of Adminius. Now, if we have a little chat about Adminius before we chat about my possible Norfolk invasion, and you can all think that, you can all disagree, or you can all go back to the original story that Caligula was an absolute nut job, and that his troops collected shells on a beach, and that the Primogenia Legion is a legion of people who were not very successful and fell out of history, which is completely wrong. So Adminius was a king of the Catualani people, north of the River Thames. Specifically a son of Conobolinus. Now, the only person who mentions Conobolinus really is Shakespeare, and I think we got a mention from Julius Caesar, and that takes us back to Conobolinus associated with Julius Caesar. Anyway, he's a son of Conobolinus, and his coinage is historically significant because it represents a bridge between British Iron Age traditions and Roman influence shortly before the Roman conquest of Britain in AD 43. But then again, if he's a son of Conobolinus, he must have been pretty old, but that's life. Let's not do that. So design and inscription, and Michelle's turned up with the sour bread, hopefully. So design and inscription. Adminius's coins often feature the legend Admini, right? Or Aminius, right? And there we go. We've got Aminius, which is the other way around. Aminius. And some have got the inscription DVN or DUN, which may represent a mint mark. So these coins had mint marks. It's just thinking, this is just like too Romans. This is just like too Roman to be not, you know what I mean? It's just like, this is before the Roman conquest of Britain in AD 43. But we've already seen his predecessor, right? We've already seen his predecessor, right? This guy, Andoko, you know, well before the likes of Aminius. I keep calling him Adminius. It's Adminius with an M. And basically the DUN might be associated with his father Conobolinus. So you can't doubt that the two coins have got a massive Roman influence, but they've also got native British influence as well. This coinage, this one example amongst a number, adopted Roman lettering and design styles reflecting Romanized natures of people in not just above London, but south of London, the Atrebati people going all the way to Fishbourne. And correct me, you can call it Aminius and Adminius. So I corrected myself. So Adminius was likely expelled by his brother Caraticus, we don't know, and fled to Rome, seeking the support of Emperor Caligula around AD 39, AD 40, which makes his coins vital artifacts of what was going on. So these coins are generally rare and highly sought after by collectors interested in the Iron Age Roman transition in Britain. So Aminius is an important figure when we're looking at the interaction of Caligula. These coins are circulating. What is Aminius doing? Asking for help from Caligula, his friend. And then we're talking about another point, which is something that nobody mentioned. It's Aminius in Britain that causes a reason for Claudius to invade, right? So if Aminius was a good friend of Caligula, right, why wasn't Aminius killed like everybody else? So there's loads of things that don't make sense. There's loads of things that just don't add up, right? So what we're going to do now, we're going to go with this little map here, yeah, and then we're going to talk about what I've got in my notes. And I'm sure everyone will have noticed that this has gone extremely smoothly tonight, and we haven't had my usual conversations with the likes of Roger and Anne, which is a shame they're not on tonight. But this is going to answer that there, right? Roman fort attributed to Caligula found Velsen, Amsterdam, 2021. Opposite Norfolk, where Caligula coins have been found, could a small invasion have occurred from Velsen, right? Big question, right? Big question. So we're talking, so if we get my little doodah, right? So we're talking about somewhere, or get rid of that there. So we're talking about, there it is, there. Right. Yes, I know that they wouldn't have sailed in a straight line, but is it possible? Is this total and utter nonsense? So my evidence is based upon a fort with a Primogena Legion based at, right, as well as Mainz, right, eventually. And we've also got Boulogne, and we've got the fort and the tower at Boulogne, right? So let's just answer the question. Yes, I'll do this, and me and Andy can have a chat at the end. So Andy's going to bring his nautical prowess to this, right? But let me do this first. Yes, a small-scale crossing from Velsen complex is plausible. But at the moment, it sits in the interesting hypothesis bucket rather than supported event. Now, folks, I've actually decided today, if I ever come into any money, I'm gonna continue that PhD, which was happening before the pandemic, which didn't go anywhere. Maybe I will be looking at something like this. What we actually know that matters for us. Velsen had two early Roman military installations. It had an early military installation from the AD 16, AD 28 to sort of deal with Germanicus, and it was in the reign of Tiberius, who wasn't a really military guy, but there you go. And it was actually before the death of Germanicus. So Germanicus were probably based at Velsen, right? Before his death in AD 19. So if it was there from AD 16, then Germanicus would have probably been in charge there. Caligula's dad would have been in charge at Velsen, right? So hence we're looking at the Velsen thing. So we're talking about Velsen. We're talking about the Roman Legion, the Primogena, based at Velsen. We're talking about AD 39. We've got a small window now because, you know, Caligula is going to be assassinated in January the 24th, AD 41. So Velsen too has been widely reported built by Caligula as part of preparations for an attempted British operation in AD 40. Let's just reread that bit again, right? Velsen too, the second fort attributed to Caligula, has been widely reported as built under Caligula as part of preparations for an attempted British operation in AD 40, right? Now, if experts are saying this, right, why are they saying it? Velsen is not, you know, is surely not the place that you're going to build a fort to invade Britain. But then it's the base of a very successful Roman legion that lasts several hundred years, right? So these weren't stupid people. And also, can I just mention this? If the Primogena legions collecting shells on the beach, wouldn't they be ridiculed? Or wouldn't they have gone out of history if that's all they did in history, collecting shells, right? Think about this logically. Just go there, right? So we're looking at Boulogne and we're talking about Velsen, right? So both localities are seriously large places to build. So basically you're talking about northern France, you're talking about one military group of people, and you're talking about another military group of people, both commanded by Caligula, to invade Britain on two separate locations. Some scholars' outlets also frame Velsen too as supporting North Sea Germanic coast operations. Makes sense. So, does Caligula coins in Norfolk prove a Velsen-Norfolk invasion? Okay, let's be honest with you, not on its own. Coins, travel, trade, payments, gifts, later, loss, hoarding, and many Roman coins find in Britain don't map neatly onto troop movements, especially without secure archaeological contexts. Can I just chuck something in, right? am I right? In Frome in Somerset, right? They found a coin hoard of like 50,000 coins, right? And the first thing that the commentators on TV said, they said, this is obviously, they found these coins that were associated with a military garrison. It's obvious. And I said, no, it's not. These are all valueless coins that were hoarded by whoever in the Roman period, and the Roman legionaries wouldn't have touched this money with a barge pole, right? So no, coins don't prove a Roman military whatever. However, right, let's not shoot myself in the foot. But many Roman coins in Britain don't map neatly onto troop movements, as I said, especially without secure archaeological context, like layers of pottery and stuff. Sealed layer, associated military kit, a fort, temporary camp. And obviously, when you go to Vindolanda, you got the you got the documents found at Vindolanda. So the Portable Antiquity Scheme database does record Caligulan denarii as finds in Britain, particularly in East Anglia. In Suffolk as well, in East Anglia. But a coin find by itself isn't invasion grade evidence. Also, some major Norfolk Roman coin hoards have closing dates later than Caligula, meaning the coins were still circulating and got buried later, which weakens any direct AD 40 landing link. However, I've already said if you're going to find a Caligula coin, then it really shouldn't be there. Right, and even if some of these are in later coins, there were one or two. What does that say? But we can't answer that now. So could a small invasion raid have happened? Yes, it could have, in the sense that Velsen is a coastal military base with harbour works, exactly what you'd want for a North Sea crossing. Let's go with this. It's a really much better picture. So read that again. Velsen is a coastal military base with harbour works, exactly what you'd want for cross North Sea sorties. Caligula's reign is right in the window when Velsen II is active. But to move it from could to likely, you'd want matching evidence on the British side, for example, pre-AD 43. A temporary marching camp or defended beachhead with Roman military ditching on the Norfolk side, which is really unlikely. That's eroded into the sea. Then again, you're talking about the same with Julius Caesar, really, and we've only got Ebb's fleet, and that's it for Julius Caesar's 2 invasions. That's all the evidence we got, and this is the point, right? Mind my French, screw the written work of Julius Caesar, right? Because he was a hero, right? But get rid of all that. The only evidence that we got for Julius Caesar in Britain is the ditch, some metalwork, and a pilum for Julius Caesar's entire invasion. We don't have this. Julius Caesar did not build any massive forts in Velsen and Boulogne, right? He didn't build a tower associated with the invasion of Britain. Julius Caesar did none of this, but Caligula did, and this is what makes me so angry. So you need to look for a cluster of tightly dated military metalwork, pilum heads, armour fittings, weaponry in one horizon. If I started digging in Norfolk now and found a ditch associated with that evidence and it was roughly dated from about AD 38 to AD 41, it would be immediately dismissed. But if you got the name Julius Caesar, everyone goes with it, right? Ebb's fleet, a short-lived supply signature, amphoratile stamped materials consistent with a single event. So if we found tiles associated with the Legio, 22nd Primogena and Norfolk from a small period of time, which is really unlikely because it would be in permanent fort, we don't know. So a burial trauma assemblage that looks like conflict and dates to AD 40. We've got none of that with Julius Caesar. I could say we've got none of that with Claudius in AD 43 either. So right now, the strongest grounded statement is, so here we go, and then we're going to get off this, and me and Andy are going to have a quick chat, right? Velsen II makes Caligula era planning logistics for a crossing realistic. So there we go. Norfolk coin finds make the idea tempting, but coins alone don't demonstrate a landing. I tell you what, right? We've got more bloody coins in Norfolk than we have got associated with Julius Caesar and bloody Ebb's fleet. You know what I mean? Did we find a coin associated with Julius Caesar and Ebb's fleet? No, we didn't. So so finally, all of this, right? All of this. Can we look at Norfolk a little bit better, right? Can we see a case file? What do the coins prove? What's the evidence? Can we see the same coins in East Anglia, exactly the same with the likes of Velsen and Amsterdam? None of this has been done because nobody wants to do it. And you know what? If I ever won the lottery, or if ever I had the time, I could basically do this, but I could write a book. And you know what? I'd have all the evidence on the planet, but it would still be dismissed. But that's life. And we're going to go over to Andy now. Andy's going to basically say this is absolute. I don't mind Andy saying this is absolute nonsense, right? I don't mind, right? I don't mind being wrong. I can be wrong, right? But Andy, over to you.
Well, there are pros and cons there. If you look at today's trading routes, so you've got in that area, you've got Harwich to Ostend.
Yeah.
You know, but there are other ones as well that go further north. But and you know, the traditional Dover Calais ones, the Portsmouth down to San Malo, they've been there. They've been used for thousands of years. They're the same routes. So they're, you know, it's a well-established route to start with. There is, you know, I am sure they were trading long before the Romans came along on those routes as well. Holland, of course, or the Netherlands or whatever, would be very different looking in those days because, of course, a lot of it's reclaimed.
Yes.
But it still would be fine. The only disadvantage of that is it is a longer sea route. So your troops are going to be under the weather by the time they get there because not everyone likes sailing in boats, you know. So, but then you got, you know, D-Day, which was over just about the same route, and that surprised everybody and worked very well, didn't it? So I think it's a perfectly plausible one. And if you're looking at the archaeological evidence, well, there's a lot more of it, isn't there, than any of the other ones?
So just plead my ignorance. D-Day, did it take 12 hours or 6 hours?
I think it depends on where they went from, because they went from various ports.
Right.
So I mean, I know the what is it? Portsmouth San Malo is about 8 hours. So
Right.
that's about the same sort of distance. So that's the main ports to the main sort of area on the Normandy, well, Normandy Brittany coast, isn't it? So
so if you flipped a coin, right? If you flipped a coin, right? You had, okay, let's put a tenner on it, Andy, right? I don't like losing money, but if you had a tenner, right, and you flipped a coin, would you say that right? Let's do this. If research was done, right, would you conceivably say that they would be onto something or no?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely feasible. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I'm sure they was sailing across there regularly, trading before that. So it would be an established, known route. So
I don't want you to say that, you know, I'm right or wrong, but the fact of the matter is, that, you know, if we just look outside the box, we got archaeological evidence at Velsen, right? We got a legion that was established by Caligula there, build up of an army there, right?
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't, the history doesn't tie in with the archaeology, right?
Yep.
So okay, let's just put it this way, right? I'm going to put it this way. You know, I've had a go at the Julius Caesar stuff, and I just went over it and just said, okay, let's just do it this way, right? The way I'm going to do Boudica, right? Boudica, we're going to not do any history at all, right? We're just going to do the archaeology. I know that I got bucket loads of stuff. I got loads of it, right? So if no history was written about the Boudican stuff, the archaeologists be saying, bloody hell, something happened, right? So if we want to take it the other way, right? Nothing was written about Caligula, which was derogatory. Then suddenly archaeologists find Boulogne, they find Velsen, they find these coins. What would they be saying? That's the question. What would they be? You don't have to answer, but what did they be saying? Something's happened.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you also think later as well, nearer in time to us. You've got Viking armies of huge, amounts of shipping coming much further distances and doing the same thing. So it's that kind of archaeological bias that we think, oh, poor little people couldn't manage to get across the sea in little boats. Well, of course they could. It was second nature to them. They did it every day,
Exactly.
So I think it is. I think, especially given the evidence there, why on earth would you build the blinging place if you weren't going to use it? So
exactly, and it goes back to the vole thing, doesn't it? We
Yeah.
found voles from
Orkney vole.
Holland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All you need to do is find an Orkney vole in Norfolk, and we're laughing.
Shut up!
Well, didn't they come from that Holland, Belgium area?
Yes, they did. So
Yeah, they did.
they
Bloody voles again, isn't it? Yeah.
That is actually do this homework, right? Judith has got to find a Roman Orkney vole that landed in AD 40, clinched it.
Can't promise anything.
Well,
Yeah.
you give her a go, love.
It's a shame that coastline's so eroded, because there's got to be stuff there.
Oh yeah. That it is. It's just that you remember in 1950s that was it 1955? There was like, oh my, why is the figure 14,000 people were drowned? I don't know where the hell that's come from, but there was the massive flooding in East Anglia, and it was just like thousands of people did die. And you're just thinking, well, this has gone on for a long time. And what you're talking about is erosion from the East Anglia coastline, and that's why the wash has been filled up with crap, right? Because it's just filled in that.
Yeah.
And there's warmer, the Fort Warmer that's been completely washed into the sea, and Reculver actually on the Kent coastline. That's just been washed away mainly, and it's just that the coastline's massively changed, and it's really intriguing stuff. But unfortunately, Caligula, we've got to leave you now. But I've done my bit to say wonderful things about you, Caligula. And maybe what we should do is me, Drina, and Andy will set up the Caligula Appreciation Club.
Absolutely.
So, anything else you want to say, Andy?
No, thank you. I'm fascinated by that. I didn't know about that fort in Holland at all. That's really interesting.
I think everything we've done tonight is put us in a direction. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Andy. Right. What we'll do Will next, right? Will's gonna hate me for this now. Will, from now on, you can't send me historical stuff. You could just go send me archaeological stuff. It's gonna be so difficult for Will, right? He's got to dig deep into his archaeology, right? As of next week, Will, don't let me down, because Getley Gaia, it's archaeology, love. So there you go.
Anyway, all right. Eric Childers, The Riddle of the Sands, wrote about the Germans, World War I, launching flat-bottom boats from Friesen land, which is north of the old strip from the Netherlands, across the sea to the northeast coast of Anglia, rather than looking at an invasion further down. First World War. So they had planned upon it, they had built the boats, and then they didn't do the invasion. 1814, the history of Great Britain. The text I sent you, Carl, as a full extract of the first couple hundred pages of the video that I put on YouTube called The 1814 History of Britain, the video 1, video 2. I had to pass the information in the blurb I used on YouTube itself, but Adminius was Cunobelinus. He was exiled by Cunobelinus. He met Caligula. He met Claudius. Claudius sent him as an envoy back across prior to the invasion to meet with other tribes, to get them on side with the Romans, to pacify them, to provide hostages and ransom before the full invasion and the various battles. But the 1814 history, if you actually read it on YouTube, it's a good extract of that historical period, but it goes from the beginning, from Julius Caesar all the way through, up until 486, 476. Very, very well detailed piece of history. Yeah, and as far as archaeology, I'll be looking on Google Earth to see if I can see any evidence of Roman sites.
Right, George. Right, two things. Right, you can actually post your videos directly onto the Facebook page, right? Which would get people streaming them sooner. And also, if you want to stick stuff straight onto the Facebook page, and the Facebook page, if anyone hasn't had the link, I'll get the name in a moment whilst I'm doing this, right? What I'm trying to do is just encourage a Roman blitz on our Facebook page, and then it's called Roman Britain Archaeology with Karl-James Langford. There's only one of me, right? So it's fine. So I want to get Will chucking his stuff on there, and any aerial photographs, any photographs of Judith in a odd position, dressed in a Roman uniform. I want all that in there.
Yeah, I got your email that sent me the link, and I signed up. I joined, followed, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to impose by putting my stuff on there just in case.
You do it!
But,
Impose yourself!
You
We
know,
want you imposing!
there you go.
Thank you, Will. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Margaret, talk about imposing upon you, right? All these men after you, Margaret. So go on.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on a minute. There was one person, remember?
Was there? Oh,
yeah,
well.
Remember a certain person who used to come along last year?
Oh, yeah.
And he visited you. Wink, wink, nudge,
did,
nudge,
yes,
say no more.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you see. Good. Go
Never
on,
mind,
Margaret.
never mind. Anyway, talking about another man, there's a historian called David Woods. Have you heard of David Woods? And he thinks the Caligula...
Not Michael Woods. David
No. David, well, there are a few historians actually, but he's one of them.
Oh, right, okay.
He thinks there was a mistranslation of the words for seashells, and he thinks it's conche, which also means British lightweight boats. And he thinks that Caligula ordered his men to collect enemy ships, which they did, and these were later paraded in Rome as trophies of war. So a few historians think it was a mistranslation. It wasn't seashells, it was small British sailing boats.
Right, so did he collect the small British sailing boats from Britain?
We don't know. It just said he ordered his men to collect enemy ships, which they did, and these were later paraded in Rome as trophies of war. But
hang on a minute. Yeah. Stop a minute. That ties us in with Lake Nemi, where he built 3 massive platforms, which were floating sort of theatres on Lake Nemi, right? And these floating platforms would have individual sort of naval battles on them on Lake Nemi. So and also, hang on a minute, this Boulogne with the harbour, and Velsen with the harbour and the lighthouse, this guy was massively into naval stuff.
Well, these small British boats,
yes,
were like canoes or coracles. I couldn't see those coming across the channel, could you?
You can only have collected them from Britain. And hang on a minute, those coracles would have come from the fen-like landscapes of Norfolk, which was all boggy, marshy. Yes. Oh my God, Margaret, how dare you tell us now at the end? You should have told me last week, right? Margaret, I want you to send a link. You're ordered to send that specific link to me. Otherwise, you'll be turned into a big toad, and I will keep you as a pet in my building.
Read up David Woods, historian.
Yeah, but it could take me months to find the quote. Find the quote.
Okay.
You ruined my day now. You ruined... Judith wants more.
I think I would have made your day by mentioning that.
Oh my God, you've made my day at the the very end, you've given us one last clue there. Oh my dearie me. Yeah, that's your homework. I want you to photograph of that exact doodah, right? And I will come up all the way to have a meal with Drina, and we'll sit at the table, have a wonderful meal, and we'll look at this image. We'll invite you, Margaret, at the end as well. Good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Margaret does all the work. Don't worry. Anyway, thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, Margaret, I will go to Drina. Anything from you, Dreen babes?
No, not tonight. Thank you very much for it, though. It was good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Oh, Anne would have loved this, and David, if he... I don't know where David is. Oh, and Rog, Dirty Rog. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Roger's probably got 12 grandchildren. He's feeding them to the lions. Talking about feeding them to the lions, we'll have one last hear from the lion, Judith.
I haven't got a lot to say, but Margaret, that sounds absolutely, you know, when something suddenly makes sense, it just does, doesn't it?
My God,
you can picture it.
No!
It makes sense. Of course it's a blooming boat. Of course it is. Why would anybody pick shells up?
Oh my God, this is I could do a live show on just that one thing. What the hell is it? Oh my God, Judith. I tell you what, as soon as if Margaret gets me that quote, right, we'll do a live thing on the weekend, right? We'll just do a whole hour just talking that one thing, and I'll just go balmy. Love it. Good. Anything else from you, Margaret, before we go?
No, that's it.
Hey, all right, no, not you. I meant Judith, but that's fine. Anything else from you, Judith?
Nothing more from me, no.
All right, but by the way, it's still before 10, so it's 9:49, so that's fine. That's fine, you know. Oh my God, how diddly do, right? So okay, don't forget, just a recap. We got sort of Margaret's got that homework, Will whatever stuff from Will. We got the Facebook doodah, we got the class fees. Next week we're going to do archaeology, and oh my God, I've got so much I could do. I don't know where to start. Right, I'm loving it. Right, okay, so yes, so that's me done tonight. Thank you very much. So and if Margaret gets me that thing, we'll have a live thingamajig, and I'll chuck that over to everybody to sort of listen to me. I'll get Margaret on, and me, not Margaret, I'll get Judith and Matt. We'll go mad. Right, okay, that's it done. So anything else from Andy, Drina, Margaret, Will, or Judith? No,
Okay.
Good night, all.
Thank you very much. That's been
Good
great.
night.
Night, Andy.
Thank you.
Night,
Bye.
Margaret, Will,
Bye-bye.
Judith. Night, folks.
Good night. Good night. Good
Bye.
night.
Night, folks. Night, babe. Woohoo! Floating on the wave. Yeah, that's mine. That is. Do you know? Full doodah there. That really worked well. Do you know it was a technology? Jenny to an elevation. Oh my God, that was so. Why the hell? My God, we got the evidence for Caligula's invasion at the very end. No! Just as I finished Caligula. Oh my God. Right, okay, that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't know where nobody's in the chat box at all now on here. I don't know why. Right, so we're going to look at the chat box quickly. I'm going to see what Michelle's got on the treats. Right. I gotta get in the camper van now. So oh cool. Pop down to the shop as well. Okay, folks, we're gonna look in the chat box. One. Oh, hang on. Oh, something's happened. Oh no, what's happened? Oh God, hang on. Chat box. Right. Nothing in the chat box. 1, 2, 3. Nothing in the chat box 4, 5, 6. Nothing in that chat box 7. Nothing in that chat box 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nostar, diolch yn fawr chi. Nostar, good night, folks, and we'll speak to you all soon. Thank you very, very much. Good night.